your 24-hour news source. This is the KCRG-TV9 First News.
This morning, a 9th child is out of that cave in Thailand as divers and the remaining 4 people are trying to swim to safety and hoping to be reunited with families.
I will nominate Judge Brett Kavanaugh to the United States Supreme Court.
The president has made his pick, and this morning we're looking into the work of Judge Kavanaugh and his chances to get confirmed.
A Des Moines car chase surprises police officers, but no arrests coming from the incident.
Welcome to your Tuesday. It is 4:30 on July 10th. A live look this morning from our Manchester City Cam to start today. You can feel that mugginess hanging in the air.
Yeah, we definitely saw it yesterday. Sounds like another day of this again as normal July is back, Kai.
Very typical here, and not expecting a lot of change here this week. In fact, here's Manchester live in the City Cam. Nice crescent moonrise there in the distance. Sunrise is about an hour out. 72 degrees, Cedar Rapids, 74 in Dubuque, 74 also towards Iowa City. A little cooler as you head north into the upper 60s. The dew points this morning are ranging anywhere from 67 to 70. Hopefully that's about as high as they will get. Satellite and radar from across the state does show that things are starting off clear, quiet, and dry up towards our north and west. That's where we still have some thunderstorms that are ongoing. That's up there, but not so much around here. 65 to 70 on the dew points for today. Slightly better than yesterday, but it's still pretty typical for this time of year. And in your zone cast, temperatures will be very similar as well. A little cooler in our northeast zone for today, particularly around Dubuque with a high around 86 degrees, pushing closer to 90 though from Iowa City and points towards the south. This is not necessarily the classic heat wave setup that we had on the 4th, but it's still warm regardless. We're warm the rest of the week. Take a look at that next storm system that looks to bring us a chance of rain Friday coming up in about 10 minutes.
All right, thanks, Kai.
Here's a live look out of Thailand this morning. A 9th child is now out of the cave, the first one today. This morning, divers are working, though, to also rescue the remaining 3 boys and their soccer coach trapped in that flooded cave. A Thai governor says the rescue mission restarted then overnight. And
he hopes that by this morning, everyone will be out of the cave. The group has been trapped there for more than 2 weeks now. TV9's Alicia Tarancon joins us live in the studio. And Alicia, authorities now just saying the crews have rescued a 9th child.
Nicole, yes, we've just learned in the past 15 minutes that crews rescued a 9th child this morning. It's part of the 3rd phase to rescue the remaining 3 boys and their soccer coach. At least 9 ambulances have been reportedly waiting at the site of the cave. 19 divers entered the cave this morning and will begin navigating through the tunnels to rescue the soccer team. The team includes 3 Navy SEALs and a doctor. 8 of the 12 boys were already taken out during the first 2 days of the rescue operation. Rescue workers are now hoping to get everyone out before the heavier rains begin to move in.
Our duty is transporting the air tanks for the SEAL team. We could see only out hands with short distance. Secondly, the stones are razor sharp, which is dangerous for our diving. Thirdly, the passage is very narrow. This is the hardest mission we've ever done.
The boys were exploring the caves last month with their coach when they became trapped inside this cave by heavy seasonal rains. They were found last week. Those that were rescued are recovering in a hospital. Medical officials say those boys seem to be healthy and are in good spirits. Stay with TV9 this morning as we work to bring the latest on this story.
Justice Kennedy devoted his career to securing liberty. I am deeply honored to be nominated to fill his seat on the Supreme Court.
President Trump last night announced that Judge Brett Kavanaugh is his pick to sit on the nation's highest court. If the Senate confirms his nomination, Kavanaugh would replace Justice Anthony Kennedy, who is leaving the bench on July 31st. ABC's Stephanie Ramos reports.
President Trump, in a primetime television event at the White House, announced Judge Brett Kavanaugh as his 2nd U.S. Supreme Court justice nominee less than 2 years into his presidency.
Mr. President, I am grateful to you, and I'm humbled by your confidence in me.
Kavanaugh, a conservative choice, serving key positions in the Bush White House and the independent counsel on Ken Starr's team investigating Bill Clinton. Later, having second thoughts about whether presidents should be subjected to prosecution and investigations, a stance that could be a big deal if the Supreme Court ever has to rule on any actions resulting from the Russia investigation. But a major question still lingers: the future of Roe v. Wade, legalized abortion. Kavanaugh highlighting the achievements of the women in his life, while also trying to clear up any misconceptions about what he may do to current law.
A judge must interpret statutes as written, and a judge must interpret the Constitution as written, informed by history and tradition and precedent.
Activists protesting his nomination on the court steps. Democratic senators also there.
President Trump did exactly what he said he was going to do. He has appointed someone who will not protect a woman's right to make decisions about her life, her health care, her reproductive freedom.
Kavanaugh said last night he'd be meeting with senators today, already trying to win over lawmakers ahead of his confirmation hearings, which are bound to be a fight between Republicans and Democrats. At the Supreme Court, Stephanie Ramos, ABC News.
Before the announcement, Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley used the focus on the courts to push for allowing cameras in federal courtrooms.
It brings transparency, it brings educational opportunities. So I think it's about time that we have rules mandating cameras in the courtroom, including the Supreme Court here, so people can see how the judicial branch of government functions.
Iowa does allow cameras in state courts, but they are banned from federal court cases.
Some in Dubuque say the opioid situation has gotten better, but it's still a battle for many people. Healthcare providers, law enforcement, and lawmakers talked about the issue at an opioid conference hosted by Rod Blum. Yesterday in Dubuque, one nurse said that she believes Dubuque needs an inpatient center where people can live for a month or longer to detoxify. Dubuque County Sheriff Joe Kennedy said law enforcement is working hard to get prescription drugs and heroin away from people, but he says that he needs more manpower.
If they were able to give us more funding, we could possibly get more officers involved in that program like that and create a greater effect on it.
At the event, Congressman Blum also talked about bills he voted for to address the problem. One of the bills urges the FDA to research non-addictive pain management strategies. The Justice Department admits it will not meet a federal judge's deadline for reuniting more than 100 children with their parents who tried to enter the country illegally. The children are all under the age of 5. Last month, the judge set the deadline for today. An attorney for the Justice Department says about half the children will be back with their parents, but the U.S. has already deported the parents of some of the other toddlers. The parents and children who will be reunited will be released into the United States.
A group of Louisiana missionaries stuck in Haiti is safe, but they're waiting for the violence to stop. Many in Haiti are rioting after the government raised fuel prices. It went up at least 38% on Saturday, putting a gallon of gas at more than $5. Rioters have been lighting things and entire buildings on fire. The U.S. government is telling its citizens there to stay inside, saying the roads are unsafe.
We've had the UN here with us, which has really been a godsend because they set up a plan on Sunday because we thought we were going to be overrun.
The violence forced several U.S. airlines to cancel flights to Haiti.
Police officers in the Iowa City area went through implicit bias training with the meeting held in public view. The course encourages people to think about what subconscious perceptions each person might have and how those perceptions can turn into a bias. University of Iowa police want people to know its officers are also going through this training. They believe there are lessons that others can learn.
That this training is geared towards kind of making us more aware of our personal biases that we hold. Not that we're bad people, but we've had experiences, but just to make sure we're keeping our minds flexible.
The instructor reminded the crowd that people can be biased to about anything, including race, gender, socioeconomic status, even body size. Today, a proposal to ban racial profiling is up for talks in University Heights. A city council member proposed the ordinance that calls for police officers to undergo racial bias training. It would also require police to publish monthly data on traffic stops by race and set up a citizens review board. The council member says her idea partly came from the city's investigation of former police chief Chris Lyon. University Heights fired him in March, but the city has not released the details from the investigation. The city council will talk about the ordinance tonight.
A police pursuit in Des Moines ended with a surprise for officers. Police started chasing a car yesterday morning after getting a report of reckless driving. The chase ended when the car crashed. Officers found a 9-year-old girl behind the wheel, along with a 7-year-old passenger. They say the kids panicked when they saw police following them. One officer had advice for parents.
It's obvious when we try to put away the dangerous things. We put away our guns, we lock those up. We try to keep the chemicals in the house and the cleaners all locked up. You know, your keys are a pretty important piece also. I mean, obviously here, this could have been a lot worse than it turned out to be.
No one was hurt, and there's no word on whether that young driver will face any charges. A Dubuque library is pulling books from the shelves and rolling them out into the community.
And today we'll also stop by our town, Maquoketa, with a look at its most famous natural feature.
Overall, another pretty nice July day. It's going to be seasonably warm yet again. Some beautiful starts here on the CityCam network. I'll explain how this bout of heat is different from what we experienced on the 4th next.
And right now, here's a look at today's opening farm markets. Thanks for joining us here on TV9 First News. It is 4:40.
You're watching your 24-hour news source, KCRG-TV9, with Nicole Agee, Chris Earl, and meteorologist Kai O'Mara. This is KCRG-TV9 First News.